What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to look at a couple of super rare One Piece cards, because basically they're a little bit broken, ladies and gentlemen. They are a little bit broken, a little bit busted, call it what you will. We got a couple here which just look awesome. And I want to start off with Rob Lucci here, because Rob Lucci is a card which, firstly, check the artwork. Just check the artwork. It is awesome. Huge fan of the artwork here. It is, at first glance, one of my favorite artworks we've had in a One Piece TCG so far. But the artwork alone isn't going to make us excited about this card, not in terms of actually putting it into decks. So what does this card actually do? Well, I did do the translation myself, although I did check with Orange Samurai D, who checked with the Discord, as usual. And what we've got here is a 4-cost, 6,000 power, and on play, you have to put 3 cards from your trash to the bottom of your deck in any order. And if you do, you don't have to, but you can do the putting the cards back, but you don't get the second half of the skill unless you put the cards back. If you do, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 2 or less, and one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 1 or less. And there are a couple different things going on here. First of which is the fact that once again we have a black card that really wants you to build up your trash. And this is something we're seeing more and more. Now, until now, my go-to example for this had been Luffy. The Luffy from OP-04 wants you to put 7 cards from your trash to the bottom of your deck, and then you get to restand Luffy, although you don't restand during your next unsuspend phase, so you kind of get 2 uses one turn, then you have to keep putting the 7 cards back to get a use the next turn, and then the turn you fail, you don't get to use it, never mind. And we see a lot of cards that are now, instead of, where you would sometimes put them on the bottom of your deck, you are instead trashing them. And I think we're going to see more of this in black now moving forward. More of these cards that are trashing rather than putting back into your deck, to power cards like Luffy and to power cards like Rob Lucci. We've got a fairly standard search card in black, the kind we see kind of all over the place. Take Rebecca as an example. On play, look at the top 3 cards of your deck. Reveal a Dressrosa card other than Rebecca, add it to your hand. Trash the rest. Traditionally, cards like these would put the rest on the bottom of your deck, but of course, in black decks, you don't want them necessarily on the bottom of your deck. You want to build up your trash for cards like Rob Lucci and cards like Luffy. Just keep an eye on this. This is a bit of a seed change that we've been seeing lately. As another example, we can look at Leo. On play, you may rest your leader. If they've got Dressrosa type, KO up to one of your opponent's cost 1 or lower characters. Then trash 2 cards from the top of your deck. This is a change we've been seeing in black over the past couple of sets, whereby they've been actively trashing, milling themselves, but now we're starting to get these very good cards, and the downside of these very good cards is you've got to put cards from your trash back into your deck in order to actually activate them, and this is a way that black decks are starting to work now. Build up your trash, use the cards in your trash to essentially power other things moving forward. Sounds good to me. The other thing here is, of course, that you are trashing, or you are KOing, I should say, a cost 2 or lower, and a cost 1 or lower. But remember, we are talking black here. We are talking about black decks. Ergo, one of the things they tend to do is that they actively try and lower the cost of your opponent's characters. So when we say it is a cost 2 or less and a cost 1 or less, in other colours, it might genuinely actually be a cost 2 or less and a cost 1 or less. That is not the case here. Please bear that in mind. Rob Lucci, I adore the artwork. I think it's some of the best art we've seen in the game, and the bird is there very prominently. But I'll tell you something, I love this card. I do, though, I need to mention, right, what is going on with the artwork and Rob Lucci? Because you see, ladies and gentlemen, we had the Rob Lucci in OP-03, which didn't have an alternate art, the purple one. We had the other Rob Lucci in OP-03 that had the amazing Akira Igawa artwork. We had the leader, Rob Lucci, which also had alternate artwork. Weirdly, OP-03 just loved Rob Lucci. Honestly, OP-03 was all over Rob Lucci. Now we've got another one, and there is a version of Rob Lucci I don't want to tell you in case you haven't seen the anime, read the manga. Where is that? How have all of these artworks come through without the other version of Rob Lucci being showcased? How is that a thing? I cannot be the only person that's weirded out by this. Without giving any spoilers, please tell me in the comment section if you are also weirded out by this, because I find it absolutely perplexing that we've had now so many Rob Lucci cards, and yet the obvious other version is just not there. It's weird, alright? It's weird. What is not weird is how good Ulti is. That's the other super rare we've been shown, and is another super rare absolutely worth getting excited about. Also pretty cool artwork. Not as cool as Rob Lucci. 4 cost, 5,000 power, counter plus 1,000, all well and good. But then we've got on play, if you are playing a multicolour leader, look at the top 3 cards of your deck and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck or top of your deck in any order. Draw in the One Piece TCG sucks. This has been a thing since the beginning, it's fine. This is the way the One Piece TCG works. It doesn't have a lot of draw, and that's okay. So, in the Pokemon TCG, drawing free is terrible. There's always a card that draws free, like, it's always legal. It's bad, ladies and gentlemen. It's terrible, and it never sees any play whatsoever. So the idea here that you could actually have this in One Piece and it be good is frankly weird to me, but it is. It is weird and awesome, and I love it, ladies and gentlemen. I think this is a phenomenal skill, because looking at the top 3 and grabbing any card is great in the One Piece TCG. Now, one thing to bear in mind, the number of decks in which you can use this is pretty limited, honestly. Because we are talking about a blue card that demands a multicolour leader, you need a multicolour leader which is at least part blue. The good news is we do actually have a few of them. We've got the Kaido from OP-01. Don X1 on your turn once per turn. When one of your opponent's characters is KO'd, you can add a Don card from your Don deck as active. We've got the Crocodile from OP-01. Don X1, after you activate an event, you may draw a card if you have 4 or less in your hand and haven't done it yet this turn. We've got the Sanji from OP-02, that is a green-blue leader. Once per turn when you play a character with no base effect from your hand, if you have 3 or less characters in play, so up to 2 of your Don as active. We've got the Nefertari Vivi that, remember, can't attack, but it's got activate main once per turn, pay 2. Draw a card and up to 1 of your characters gains rush during the turn. Technically, we also have Rebecca, but Rebecca is really specifically for Dressrosa decks, and all the Dressrosa cards we've seen are really black. So I'm just mentioning Rebecca in passing here. Please bear in mind Rebecca doesn't really count, because you're not going to play Ulti in a Dressrosa deck, and you're only going to play Rebecca in a Dressrosa deck. And then we've got ourselves Queen. This is your 5,000 power 4 life, because it's a dual colour blue and yellow. And Don X1, when attacking, if the total number of cards in your life and hand is 4 or less, draw a card. If you've got an 8 cost or more character in play, you can place a card on the top of your deck on your life instead. Those are your options. If you want to be playing Ulti, those are the dual colour leaders that are part blue that you are allowed to play here. But also, you need to bear in mind that Ulti is an Animal Kingdom Pirates. So really here, you're probably looking at the Kaido from OP-01 or the Queen from OP-04, because they're also Animal Kingdom Pirates. They can take advantage of the other Animal Kingdom Pirates cards. But obviously, if we're looking at this card in the video, my first thought when I'm looking at this card is, well, okay, we need a dual color leader that's part blue. What are our options? It just seemed weird to me if I made this video and didn't tell you. So now I have, and life is good. But now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about these 2 cards. Tell me which ones you're excited about. Tell me which ones you're playing. Tell me anything you want to tell me in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching What's He Plays.